Okay, fam, welcome back. We are in the 5th episode of All the Mods 9 to the Sky. Now, last episode, we completed the first step to the All the Mods star, which was the pulsating black hole. Now, to create the star, it requires many other things that are all here. You've got things centered around magic and tech, I guess. Some of these are much easier than others. For example, we will need antimatter for some of them, or things as simple as red matter. So, like I said, some will be easier than others. But today, I plan to do mechanism, so that will entail getting antimatter. Now, antimatter is not a process that I really enjoy, but is something that we will have to do. I may do it a little bit different than other people will, because the automation of many of these resources is interesting. I can get a bee to produce nuclear waste, which would speed up the process immensely. Oh, except I would still need one antimatter pellet for bee flowering, which is doable. How about breeding? How do I get one? I just have to give it a polonium pellet, a radioactive bee polonium pellet, which is so easy to get, iron bee and cree bee. So we will have to set up a new area for mechanism, and I think I will go this way, and it will likely just look exactly the same as these other rooms, same block palette, etc. So let me set up a small space that we can use to start automating mechanism, and then I will bring you back. Okay, fam, so this is the area I have prepared. It's right where I said it would be, and it sits quite nicely in here. I have a big old room meant for the reactor that will sit right here on the floor, and I've got a hallway that will be able to produce all of the different alloys and control circuits that I will need, along with enriched resources to make that a little bit easier. So right now we are going to have to start setting some recipes. Now I wanted to do this on passive, so it would always be running, which is what I think I still want to do. I just have to figure out where things are gonna go. So the first metallurgic infuser, I think I want it to be making the basic control circuits, which means I need to insert redstone and osmium. Now redstone is easy. We are going to use this enrichment chamber. We are going to set the top to be redstone, like that. And we can come in here to the config and say input, top, bottom is output, and everything else is none, like that. Auto eject is on. What I can actually do, because it will not do auto insert, I can actually use the at functional storage, the pusher upgrade. It will, and then I think we can set it to right click in GUI. So set it to push down, and just like that, we should be making some enriched iron. We are slowly making some enriched redstone, which with the help of a storage controller up there and being connected to our system, everything will be able to be transferred between the drawers, I think. So this will need to be sent over there and there. Oh, but everything will need more than one, or some of these will need more than one input. So I'll actually need a couple of these 1x2s with some terracotta and some smooth stone, and we can replace this. Now this one will need both osmium and enriched iron. Wait, was it osmium? It was osmium. Okay, good. So both, and then we can lock it, and we can do the same thing that we did for each of these. So all these recipes will be pretty much what they seem. So we're going to be setting up the same things over and over again with enriching redstone, obsidian, diamonds, and then we'll be making the basic control circuits, and then all three of these alloys inside of the metallurgic infuser. These three will just be auto crafts, which will all happen inside of a crafting table all the way up until the ultimate circuit. Nothing's too expensive. I should be able to afford all of them. So give me half a second and let me get all of these put together. So we got the boring part put together. We're using modular routers, as you can see, just zapping all of my items in between these, I guess. So redstone, or enriched redstone, goes to make the basic control circuits and the infused alloy. And then we're also making enriched diamond and enriched obsidian, which makes the reinforced alloy and the atomic alloy that we are making as much of as we can. And this is very slowly filling up. So we have a next step, which is of course to make antimatter. Now antimatter is a very involved process, which if we take a look here, you can get antimatter pellets from antimatter, and then you can get antimatter from polonium inside of a SPS machine, and then polonium is from nuclear waste, and you can get nuclear waste from a fission reactor. Now, the inputs are just water and fissile fuel. Now, fissile fuel is very involved. You need uranium hexafluoride, which is the result of hydrofluoric acid and uranium oxide. Hydrofluoric acid is just sulfuric acid and fluoride, and sulfuric acid is sulfur trioxide mixed with water vapor. Sulfuric trioxide is made from sulfur dioxide and oxygen, and sulfur dioxide is just made from sulfur dust. I'm going to throw together a quick crafting tree so we can better visualize exactly what we're doing. Okay, this is really just for my understanding, but we do have a full crafting tree. So like I was saying before, antimatter pellets come from polonium. Polonium from nuclear waste from fissile fuel from uranium hexafluoride from hydrofluoric acid and uranium oxide. Hydrofluoric acid is fluorite and sulfuric acid, and then we come over here. Sulfuric acid is made from sulfur trioxide and water vapor, and sulfur trioxide is made from sulfur dioxide and oxygen. And lastly, sulfur dioxide is made from sulfur dust. I've looked at so many things that say sulfur. My brain is second guessing how you spell it. Doesn't look right anymore. So why don't we start at the beginning? So sulfur dioxide is made from sulfur dust inside of a chemical oxidizer. Okay, so by inputting sulfur dust into a chemical oxidizer, we should begin to get sulfur dioxide gas, right? Right. Okay, sulfur dioxide plus oxygen makes sulfur trioxide, and oxygen is made from a electrolytic separator. Oof, this is going to be quite the process. So we're going to need a sink and some fluid pipes. Okay, so water is making hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, now we can make the sulfur trioxide inside the chemical infuser. And as you can see, I have already made some crafting recipes for all of these just to make our lives just a little bit easier. Okay, so the top is the oxygen, the bottom C. There you go. And just like that, we are making sulfur trioxide. Okay, so we're going to need this rotary condenser in order to make the water vapor, which just takes water. And I am actually going just to make another sink. Okay, so sink goes here. Water goes in through the top, like gases, fluids. Top is input. We need to change the orientation, make sure that it will be getting, power. And then water vapor goes out the side. Okay. And then we just need to have this side be the input and that side be the output. And just like that, we should be making sulfuric acid. Yay. We're making about 10 millibuckets per tick. Ooh, except we are out of sulfur dust. This has really just been a chain of mixing sulfur with water and different organizations. Okay, and we are now making tiny bits of that's a whole bucket of hydrofluoric acid. Okay, so uranium oxide plus hydrofluoric acid makes uranium hexafluoride inside of a chemical infuser. Okay, and finally, the last step that will be on this wall. Is it really necessary that all these machines make different sounds? I keep having to mute them for the sake of my audio recordings, but all of these things I have muted, and they're all mechanism machines. But anyway, yes, the very last step that will go on this wall. And if you have stuck around, I appreciate you. Fissile fuel. Now, fissile fuel is made inside of an isotopic centrifuge and shall sit right here. Gases, we shall input there, and we are making very slow fissile fuel. And that is our first bucket of fissile fuel. Now these next couple steps are a whole lot more complicated, but are necessary in order to get the star. Nuclear waste will come from water and fissile fuel inside of a reactor, nuclear reactor. So I'm just gonna set up a reactor in the middle of this room. Not gonna be the biggest size, but maybe like 11 by 11 by 11. And then we can start pumping in fissile fuel to start making ourselves some nuclear waste. Okay, fam, so we got this thing running. If we take a look here, we are inputting water using a sink, and we just routed some pipes all the way from my tank that is over here. There's kind of a hole in my wall. I tried to figure a way around that, but it's not a big enough deal to worry about. That should speed things up. Now, fissile fuel is coming in as fast as we can make it. We just have to prepare for the outputs, which are nuclear waste and steam. Okay, so taking care of the nuclear waste is as easy as fluid pipe, pulling it out. And we're gonna pull that one out. Whoops, not exactly what I wanted. Pulling the gas out into a chemical tank with dumping excess on, because I'm not gonna make whatever that thing's called, a water turbine. I am going to need to make a mechanism. Radioactive waste barrel, 64. That should be plenty. Oh, that's right. They're only able to be used. Okay, what is radioactive waste? A gas? It is a gas. I did not expect that, but that means we can place these down something like this, and like set with some pipe upgrades, and we should be pulling out nuclear waste very fast along with gas. Okay, I'm a little nervous, as you can probably imagine, but we need, I think it was something like, so we need 72 PSP casings total, which includes the 12 required for the 3 SPS ports. And we need the SPS chamber to make antimatter. So 72 times 5. So we're gonna need 360-ish buckets, because each one takes polonium, or 4 plutonium and 4 polonium and 1 plutonium. So 360 buckets of nuclear waste. And then we should not have to worry about the super scary fission reactor. So if this blows up, then we'll figure out where to go from there. But let's see what happens. Is temperature supposed to be rising like that? Okay, we are burning. So our temperature is stabilized at 370 Kelvin, probably. And we are still draining, so we can increase the burn rate to, let's try 2. That seems to be burning just as much as it is inputting. Yes, it is, which means that we should see some nuclear waste starting to build up in all of these, which we will manage here in just a second. Right now, oh, it makes noise, doesn't it? I didn't have my headphones on. Okay, well, that's done now. Everything in mechanism makes noises. It's dumb. Steam is building up more than I wanted it to, and water is not quite fast enough, is it? Okay, we're going back up now. Just took 2 sinks instead this time. We are like one very small amount of the way there. We have like 5. We have 5 of the 300 and some on, whatever, like 172th of the way, I guess, which is fine. Fine overall. We should do the thing that is automating HDPE. So HDPE is yet another process that is tons of fun and super entertaining. It really is just biofuel with some extra steps. So I don't know. I already put you guys through one annoying process. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw together HDPE, and then I will bring you back and we will go over how it works together. Okay, I think it should be simple as this. Put moss on the top, and if I turn this machine on, okay, already muted, then we should be able to turn biofuel into substrate, which both need to be sent to the bottom, gases and the like such as, and using this method, we can octuple our substrate output with a little bit of water. We need another sink. If I use so many, then it just makes everything look better. I need a bucket full of water. Oh, except then water, ethylene, substrate should make me more substrate, oxygen, and ethylene. More ethylene should make me HDPE pellets. Okay, it's not nearly as pretty as it was before. I had to build a second thing to make ethylene because this is using a pressurized reaction chamber is actually the only way that you can get it. I then had to turn the ethylene into liquid ethylene. And then with some oxygen in a pressurized reaction chamber, we are getting the pellets. Then the pellets can be very quickly turned into HDPE sheets. And we are making exactly what we needed to. And our reactor has yet to explode, except for it is steamed out. We're getting there with the nuclear waste. Looks like we're about like a third of the way. Let's try using the mechanism pipes, or it's not working because it got configured wrong. Hopefully that's fine. That's not what I want. Hopefully this is going to be fine, right? I can just do this. I guess not. I'm sure it's fine. I'll take care of that in a minute. Yay. Steam is leaving. I just irradiated my whole base. Okay, that never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't just irradiate my entire base. That's weird. Didn't happen. Okay, so steam is taken care of, and now we just have to figure out how to process nuclear waste. We can't break this because if I do, I will irradiate my base again. Didn't happen. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But yes, now comes the time for processing nuclear waste into polonium and plutonium. Polonium is just using a solar neutron activator, which seems easy, and I really hope it is. It does require a little bit of HDPE, solar neutron activator. Easiest thing ever. So if we use a solar neutron activator and we pump in some of this nuclear waste, it probably needs access to sunlight, doesn't it? Hey, we made polonium. I'm not exactly sure how, and I don't know where the rest of my nuclear waste went, but I think this activates pretty much instantly. So if we look at this, we should have quite a bit of polonium. Now to make polonium pellets, it's just fluorite dust, water, and spent nuclear waste, which I can't actually do anything with. Great. Well, we're going to find out if it can be garbage, which I highly doubt that it can be. Okay, so with a little bit of fluorite dust, which we can now craft, we can make, with a little bit more power, polonium pellets. And now we are going to need like 360 of these, or not quite so many. It will actually be 288 polonium pellets, less whatever this, let's just call it 300, except the spent nuclear waste is going to be a bit of an issue, isn't it? Wow. I've crafted 9 so far. I know that we're only creating so much of this, but I might crank up the burn rate, seeing as my current amount of fissile fuel would give me 75. That is it. I guess the only thing that I can really do is wait for a while, because we kind of need a lot of this. I'm going to toss upgrades on all my machines to make fissile fuel faster, and then we'll get back to you once we can actually craft the super something. The SPS machine. So give me a second. This might be a while. So I might have messed up. I'm sitting here trying to maximize my production. I cranked this up, so fissile fuel is crafting so fast, but water's not keeping up. So I'm like, okay, I need more sinks, right? So I go ahead and I throw another sink on there, and then I throw another one and another one, right? I'm like, these fluid pipes are not going on fast enough, so the mechanism ultimate mechanical pipes faster, right? I break the pipe and it instantly explodes. Instantly ran out of water. So I need to kind of rebuild this. Didn't really expect that to explode so quickly, but what you gonna do, right? So I'm gonna rebuild this and we're gonna put it back together, and hopefully by then we can have all the resources that we need. We really didn't get that much further. We have 21 polonium pellets and a ton of spent nuclear waste. Okay, so we are creating whatchamacallits. Everything should be working. No water issues, and we're doing 25 millibuckets per tick, and that is producing these very quickly. I'm getting like 20-ish millibuckets per tick. I don't know. I don't think it's 25 because this is a 10-to-1 conversion, but it could be 25 for all I know. But the thing that we were looking at the beginning of the episode was the wasted radioactive bee, which needs antimatter pellets for bee flowering. Now, if I'm going to make this reliable at all and be able to use this to make nuclear waste, I'm going to need to get into productive bees. Not very deeply, but just enough that I am going to be able to speed this up a ton. So I think the way that I'm doing is tech down this way, resource protection down this way, and magic will be down that way, kind of like for my other base that I had planned. So of course, bees will be down this way. We need to throw together an area with tons of hives, and that's kind of really it. So give me a second. I'm going to throw together the quickest little area for bees, and I'll bring you back then. Okay, fam. This is still working. It's working great. It very nearly exploded again when I booted up my world again, but we're good. We're still producing tons of fizzle fuel, but it goes down and then goes up, kind of back and forth, and we are right around 70 short of the polonium that we need. I did throw together a bee area. Initially, I was thinking, you know, it's a bee area, so we could make it in the size of a hexagon, or in the shape of a hexagon, but I thought that was boring, so I did this instead. It's pretty. It's got flowers and stuff, because bees are gonna have to roam around here for a while, so I made something kind of cool looking. It is all very flat. I could have fixed that if I wanted to, but I want to keep everything mostly pretty flat. You know, I have a couple rocks and some terrain that's a little higher and some ponds, but we do need to start getting bees. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to block off both the entrances and exits. So block off that side, and we need to block off this side. And once I start getting more bees, they are going to sit just up here flush with the wall. So your beehive with your feeding plate and everything will be simulation chambers, so we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, the process is going to look something like this. Birch saplings, we're gonna need bone meal, and then we're gonna need something with silk touch like my shovel has, and then we have these flowers so that we can breed more bees. Oh, and we're also gonna need some campfires. That should do. So we have a flower here. I think it's within like 2 blocks, so I could have placed it here and we'd still get a beehive, but I don't know. I feel like I get better off this way. So we're just going to come around here. We're going to grow a bunch of trees. And once we get a beehive, I shall bring you back. Okay, so that was pretty quick. If I break this quickly with the bees still inside, we don't have to worry about them leaving and being angry at me. So we are going to very quickly toss my campfire here and then my bee nest here with some flowers here. And over time, we should start to get some more honey levels. We're going to repeat this process, get some more bee nests, and hopefully start to build up some honey. Look at our very own bees. I probably should have set like a airlock system, something like, whoops, this, so the bees can't escape. And I shall breed them all up, although they're gonna kill themselves on these campfires. And of course we have a 5-minute cooldown, so yay, you get to wait. Okay, so honey production is still pretty slow, but we are starting to build up an amount now that we have the advanced beehive. We just have the one, which is fine. I might have lost a bee on accident, but we are getting honey and we are getting honeycomb, which is what matters. So I think some of the next steps is getting the draconic bee. This one, the draconic bee, which needs an obsidian nest with dragon's breath. Now, most likely, we have to get it from the end, and we should have dragon's breath. Why don't I have it? I thought I had this. We might have to get a quick Ender Dragon Prediction and Dragon's Breath, which I'm just going to edit out. It'll happen. It just takes a couple of dragon fights. So give me a second and let's get those data models. Okay, I found a method which I actually prefer, using the extractor from Zycraft Machines, which recipe is just like aluminum kiwi, like a chest and some gold nuggets for the item port, piston, and some dripstone. And I get Dragon's Breath every 10 seconds. With a time in a bottle, I think we can speed this up a little bit. I mean, I don't have a lot of time stored since I just made it. We should be getting Dragon's Breath more frequently. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next little bit of time. I'm going to be working between my bees and Dragon's Breath so that hopefully I can get enough to start getting myself some draconic bees. Okay, we have finally hit the mark for polonium pellets. Polonium, not plutonium. But now we do need plutonium. It's basically the same process, except for the solar neutron activator needs to be a isotopic centrifuge. So we can break the solar neutron activator. There is no radioactive anything inside. And with a little bit of power, we should start making some plutonium. And with some, I believe it's fluorite dust. It is fluorite dust. We can start to make some plutonium pellets. And we only need like 70, 80. I'm gonna go with 80. And we already have our first 8. So we just have to wait for our supply to build up, and then we can finally start to put together our SBS chamber. The next things that we need to do is we should have enough of the Dragon's Breath, which we have just over 4 stacks. That should be more than enough. We are going to need to craft some bee cages, which 16 is more than plenty, and we can head to the end. And with some Dragon's Breath, we can start the cooldown to give us some Draconic Bees. And this will be our first Draconic Bee, which we have inside of a bee cage. And that is all 5. We head home and over to our bee area, which we no longer really need the blocked entrances and exits, but we are going to keep for just a little bit longer. So beehive, so we're going to need at productive. We need 1 advanced beehive and 1 advanced oak expansion box, along with a singular simulation upgrade. There is the anti-teleportation and then the simulation upgrade. Pop that into our beehive, and we can toss all of the draconic bees into the chamber. That, along with a feeding slab and a dragon egg, should begin to give us draconic comb. I've saved up some time, so hopefully we can speed the process. That did not work at all. Maybe because it only works at day or it only works at night. Yeah, it probably only works at day. And we just wasted like 32 minutes of time. That's okay. I guess we just wait for these to give me goodies. So this episode's a little bit back and forth. We're going between the bees and the plutonium, or the SPF chamber. We should actually have all the plutonium and polonium that we're going to need. So we're going to need exactly 72 SPS casing with 120 or 188 or 200, whatever. Plenty of HDPE something or others, so this should be 72 craft. Okay, we're also going to need some supercharged coils, which are going to be semi-expensive, which means we're going to need, I think it's 3, and then we can craft the 1, 2, 3 supercharged coils that we need, along with the 3 SPS ports. Now, this is a process that I've never actually done before, but it should be a fun process anyway. I'm thinking I'm just gonna toss it inside of one of these walls like I've been doing. We're gonna put it here, I guess. Let me see here. If we look at mechanism advanced, this is what we are creating. Ooh. So it needs several different rings that are pretty big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like such as, now this should be the size of each of the panels, I guess. And then I just need to create the same shape multiple times along these different axes like that. When I say I have no clue what I'm doing when I'm doing this, that is the honest truth. I just know that I needed 72 of these and 3 of these, the SPS ports, and a bunch of glass, and then put some lasers or some supercharged coils in there somewhere and hope that it works. Okay. So, and then the coils should follow this pattern, and then so like that maybe. And if I close this up, I should, oh, it actually worked. I am so surprised. Okay, so in order to make antimatter, it's polonium, which is not what I'm making here. We're going to have to reroute. Actually, I'm going to put this one on the bottom because that will mean less cable routing. Wow, I was really messy with my cables. Okay, so if I route this way and I go straight out until here, and then I grab my solar neutron activator, like such as, and then pull out the polonium and move it in there. Now, once I sleep, I'm hoping this is going to start working. Status idle. Does it need power perchance? It does. Oh, and that's loud. 1 million FE per tick. Is it 200 millibuckets to 1? What is the conversion? It is 1,000 millibuckets to 1. So this is going to need to run for a good long time because we only have 3 millibuckets. Once we get our 1,000, we can make our first pellet, and then we can start using the bee instead. Speaking of bees, if we come over here and we look at how we're doing, we have 16 draconic dust. If we had 18, we could make our first higher production thingamabob, our productivity upgrade. Now, I've just been sitting here using up my time in a bottle to get more draconic comb, and with 2 more dust, like I said, we can get our productivity upgrade. Now, one other thing that I did do, these bees are kind of obsolete now, because if we come over, I replaced my redstone seeds, which I no longer needed, with honey seeds, which I realized was a thing, which is making me more honey and honey blocks than I know what to do with. But now I can make as much honey bottles and honeycomb as I need. So my only drawback is draconic dust. If I say wanted to make one of the highest tiers of productivity upgrades, I would need wax, but I have honeycomb covered and I have honey bottles covered, and item frames are really cheap. So really I'm only missing the 140 draconic chunks. So once I start making those things quickly, I should have nothing to worry about. Okay fam, things are still pretty much the same. We are still slowly collecting antimatter. We are getting closer and closer to the 1000 millibuckets that we need to make one pellet so that we can finally shut this thing down. I kind of hate it. It's exploded like 6 times on me. I replaced my emeralds with sulfur seeds because getting sulfur essence was kind of annoying, but I think it is time that we get the wasted bee. All I have to do is feed a polonium pellet to a radioactive bee, and a radioactive bee is as simple as a Cree bee and an iron bee. Cree bees are easy. We just have to put some hives in the dark, and an iron bee is a crystalline bee and an ashy mining bee. I can get these from the nether with a quartz nest, and ashy mining bee is just a dirt nest, which is all pretty easy. Nothing we have to really worry about. So why don't we start with getting the creepy. We are going to need some, I guess we can just use dirt for now. We just need a dark room with nothing really in it. Okay, so this dirt room is pretty big, and we're just going to need some advanced oak beehives. I have night vision, but it is actually dark in here. And then we can just lay down these beehives. Now over time, these will start to collect all of the unfed bees, like the zombie, the skelly bee, and the Cree bee, which will probably all be used later once we kind of dive deeper into bees. But this episode is really just focusing on mechanism. Okay, next we need the dirt nests, which can all just sit on here. With some honey treats, we can start to get some bees. Now, if I'm lucky enough, I should get my ashy mining bee on the first try. That is the leafcutter bee. That is another leafcutter bee. That is the chocolate mining bee, which will come in handy when we plan to get the aldermodium seeds. Ah, finally, the ashy mining bee. Okay, ashy mining bee and crystalline bee. The crystalline bee should be much easier to come across, except we need to use quartz instead of honey treats. Okay, so we now have 2 bees that I need to make myself the iron bee. So with some flowers, we should get ourselves an iron bee. We're probably still waiting for the skelly bee, but I'm not exactly sure if we're supposed to have these expansion boxes. So we're going to try it without. Okay, there is our iron bee. We are going to need to grow it up inside of these bee incubators, which should not take too long. I know I keep saying skelly bee, and I just realized that that's not the one I need. I need the Cree bee, which still isn't there. Oh, have I been wrong this whole time? I just need some TNT. My bad. That's a whole lot easier than I had thought. So that's a Cree bee. We have Cree bee, we have iron bee, and together that should make radioactive bee. Now, I'm gonna need at least 5 of these, and I don't think that I want to put it in my bee area. I think I might put it in my mechanism area, just so that the outputs are closer to where I need them. I have a whole lot of nuclear waste. I might even have enough to get my first antimatter. Now, I almost want to do more than just the 5 bees it takes, because if I do, I could set up an automatic setup for polonium, plutonium, and an antimatter, which almost sounds like a good idea. One other thing that I should mention that I have done, which the process was beyond boring, is I nearly maxed out my draconic bees. So their productivity is high, they have any weather tolerance, and they are meta-ernal, which means they will work during the day and during the night, which just took leaving them out in the rain and leaving them out during the night and the day, which it was just an annoying process, not really all that interesting. I did set up 2 of them because I need a whole lot of draconic dust to make all of the upgrades. Now, all I can really do from now on is to wait for this antimatter to finish up. Still need another 250 millibuckets, or 250 buckets of polonium. So it is going to be a while. We are inputting a whole lot, but maybe I can prepare the area for the bees. So we are going to need 3 different bees, or 3 different hives, which I can probably put here so that it's close-ish to my antimatter area. These bees are going to be, or I'm going to need a some simulation upgrades or some feeding plates, and I'm going to need some more antimatter, which takes so long. I will get an extra one from the quests, but it takes so long that I am considering building more of these reaction chambers. I'm going to need 3 different drawers, one for polonium, one for plutonium, and one for antimatter. Now that these are empty, I can remove this setup right here. The barrels get to stay. If I break the barrels, then I believe I will irradiate my entire area. So yay. So I'm going to need 3 chemical oxidizers. So pull the items out of the hives. 3 chemical oxidizers go here, which then will make me nuclear waste with no byproducts, which is good. Then we're going to need some, I'm going to need some pressurized pipe if I don't have any already. Mechanical pressurized. I do have some pressurized. I'm going to try to make the switch away from pipes because whenever I load in after quitting the game, they quit working. And that is one of the reasons that my reactor has blown up so many times. So the first one's going to need a solar neutron activator. The second one is going to need an isotopic centrifuge. And then we are going to need another solar neutron activator for my antimatter. Okay, I know this isn't super pretty. Everything should be hooked up. All these machines should make my polonium, plutonium, and antimatter. This one just turns it into nuclear waste, into polonium, and then it'll take it out of here, put it into the SPS chamber, and then it'll take it back out and into the pressurized reaction chamber once I do. Please work. Okay, there's antimatter in these tubes. Oh, why aren't you working? Oh, it's the wrong machine. Okay, that was close. We are going to need to power my machines, all of them. And once I get my first antimatter, we should finally start to be producing these things. We are close. We only need about 200 more millibuckets and we can get our first antimatter. Okay, fam. I was planning to catch this, but we have ourselves an antimatter pellet. I believe it is in Mechanism Advanced. What? I was promised bonus. Maybe it's in normal mechanism. Well, I don't know where the bonus is at, but I guess we will be building up some more SPS casing or some more antimatter as we go along. But for the time being, since this one is already being powered by our reactor and we might as well just let it run, I'm going to put it here. And as I build up enough draconic dust to get more of these productivity upgrades that I've been doing here, then we will start to put our bees into place. Okay, I came just in time. See that this one is going to finish any second now. Ooh, here it comes. Boom. Antimatter pellet. We got to watch that one be made. That is a ton of time, I guess. We have a ton of polonium. So I did get the rest of these antimatter pellets put in already. Not bad. That's not bad at all. I've been trying to get everything put into place. Everything that I can afford right now. I want to make sure that I can have it all put together. So that maybe, everything will be working in, less effort later, more effort now. And we are pretty close. We have a lot of Mobius fuel that we need to get. Tons more antimatter, or more for 1 star. But yeah, tons of stuff that we still need to get. Okay, fam. So the very last thing that I need to do today is get up some of these thermal evaporation towers. I did set up some better power because this was kind of killing my power grid. And this is really pretty simple. Just some generators, universal cables in between for high power transfer with some sinks, and it's generating me 5 million FE per tick. And we are burning quite a bit of polonium. It would be higher if our polonium output was more, which it isn't doing too bad. We are still making very little antimatter. I mean, we have the one that we did before, and we did change this to 75 millibuckets per tick, and we're using mechanical pipes instead of the pipes because they kept breaking. One other thing that's been bothering me is I loaded in today and there's no plutonium recipe. I'm doing clicks to show the recipes for the plutonium pellet or the uses for plutonium, and it's just gone. Even in the generators over here, I have plutonium, but I can't seem to put any fluorite dust in. So I guess that is all we have 94 plutonium, and that's all we're gonna get. So that's the deal right now. But thermal evaporation towers, I don't think we can fit them here. So I guess we can put them over here. I'm not gonna build a room right now because we are probably running a little over on time, but we're going to need 2 of these. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna make like 500 of these and like 10 of these. The other thing we're going to need is some solar panels. We are going to need 8 of these. I'll just craft 10 just to be on the safe side. And we're going to need to create a 4x4, I think. I don't think we can go any bigger. I mean, we might be able to. I've never done this before, but this is just what I've seen in the past people do, so I'm going to assume that it is right. Now, in case it wasn't super clear, and it might not have been, that's on my bad, or editing my bad, but these towers are for us to get lithium, which is one of the things that we need for the Altmod star. Now, these need to be a specific height. I mean, the max height is 18 blocks tall. So you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now we're going to stop there, and we're going to put the blocks like this. So we take out the corners. Now, if we look at our 10 solar panels, we only really need 4 right now, but we place each of them. Ooh, that's actually kind of cool looking. This one needs to be that way. Yeah, look at actually, you didn't see anything. Never mind. That's fine. Yep, that's how it's supposed to look. The controller's in place. Oh no, that's a valve. I mean, we are going to need some of these valves. I'm going to put 2 of them right here. We are going to need a controller to sit right at eye level, which is going to be here, and that should create a structure. The temperature is increasing steadily, but we're going to have to make a second one. Now the second one is just going to be 3 blocks this way with 2 valves. The controller will sit right here. That's a valve. And the same story, 18 blocks tall with 4 of the whatchamacallits on the top. Okay. We have both our towers put together with both our controllers. Temperature is getting pretty high up there. This one is still cranking up since I just finished it. But why don't we take a look at the lithium recipe? Or we can just do that. Now water turns into brine, and brine turns into lithium. And then we can turn lithium into liquid lithium into lithium, and lithium into lithium dust. Pretty simple setup here. Now we're going to need 1 input for water. So 1 mechanical pipe pulling from here and pushing into there, and we already have a ton of brine. Look at that. I think brine is still a liquid. I could be wrong. And pulling the brine into the next one immediately makes me some liquid lithium. That is so fast. So brine, water into brine, brine into lithium. Okay, the last step of this process is as follows. 2 more ports on this side, both of them pulling out liquid lithium, which we can put into a rotary condenser. Okay, and then finally we can turn lithium into lithium dust in the chemical crystallizer. We are making lithium dust. Look at that. Yay. Okay, we are making lithium dust. I mean, it's pretty fast. I mean, we should bump up the speed probably. I mean, of these machines, just speed upgrades. Okay, so each of these is going to need a speed upgrade and a energy upgrade, most likely. But look at the speed at which we are getting lithium dust. It is pretty fast. And that was a beyond easy process, not nearly as strenuous as putting together this nuclear reactor or the SPS reactor, or even, any of this. It was a pretty easy process. In between the next several episodes, or now, and when we finish the game, all of these things will be building up their resources. Now, antimatter, I think we're going to need something like 100 antimatter, and then lithium, we're going to need something like 10,000 lithium, something like that. Some absurdly high number, 10,000 and some amount. But let's take a look at the star recipe that we were taking a look at earlier. We are going to need 20 of them. We are missing a lot of things, as you can probably see. Dragon scales. I just farmed up anyway. It's fine. Everything here will need to be crafted a ton of times, but why don't we take a look at just one? We need a ton of glass. We need lots of things, basically, is what I'm seeing. But anyway, I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful time watching this video, and I will see you again next time.